You win. That's what happens when you and your members take an active role in electing your employers, and it can be as easy as 1, 2, 3. While school board and trustee elections are the most important local elections you and your members can get involved in, too often they're the elections that get the least participation.
If you're not involved in the political action, then you're just not giving your voice. It is so evident to us that being involved means a lot. Every vote counts. We lost the 05 election by 2 or 3 votes. So every vote counts, and everybody feels like what they do, they get their parents to vote or their children, whoever, to vote, that it's going to make a difference.
Too often, our members stay out of politics because they aren't convinced that they can make a difference. Whether it's privatization, a fair contract, or program cuts, member involvement in school board and trustee elections will shape the direction of public education and labor relations in your school district and on your campus.
Our local ESP and EA coalition, MEA as a whole, units need to come together and work on electing board members and how you do it, and fighting privatization. I think the biggest weakness that we have in fighting privatization is EAs haven't jumped on board, and that needs to happen.
The advantage is that if we stick together, we're a lot stronger together than being apart. Their group was even a lot stronger with us than without us. We had over 100 of our people picketing for the teacher's contract, which was something that was never heard of before. So it's real important.
We forget that every decision, from your salary and benefits to the curriculum you teach to the kind of wax you use on the floors, is made by elected officials. We have a chance to influence those decisions when we mobilize our members and the community behind the right candidate.
These are the people who will control our lives. Whether, you might say, oh, well, it's not important. It's very important. Will control the number of kids you have in your classroom. It's just so important. Your working conditions, everything. So it is so important that we get the right people in. And we get to know these people is what I like about it when we do the interviews with them. That is so important also.
We were looking for people who would be responsive to the needs of the community, who would be responsive. So we were looking for people who cared about education at Kellogg Community College, who would be responsive to the needs of the students.
When you can have collective community, you've got a strong force for those students and for this community and this college. And that's what we ended up having. That's a formidable force.
The right candidate is the product that your campaign must successfully market. Our members in the community play key roles in making your candidate politically appealing and electable.
I came to the realization that school board members were members of the community, just the way I was a member of the community, that had feelings and ideas about how schools ought to run and what was important in educating children. Being a teacher in Dearborn, I'm also a member of a union, and I realized through my work there the important role that the union plays in trying to encourage the development of policy that will benefit children.
A win at the polls establishes the union as a powerful force and a key player in the decision-making process in your school district or on your campus. But your work isn't over. After the election night celebrations, it's time to get down to the business of establishing a relationship and communicating regularly with your elected board member or trustee.
I had pretty good communication with them. I got every one of them on my cell phone, and I don't call them that much. I call them, when there is big issues, I'll call them and get their opinion and what they're kind of going to do before we even go into the board meeting, so I kind of got a feel for what's going to go on.
I talk to the board members frequently, and they call me frequently, wanting to know what the faculty positions are, wanting to know what faculty issues are. And so there's been a real outreach from the elected board members and the newly appointed one to know where we stand on issues, in particular in educational issues.
keeping them informed on union issues, providing data and information, or updating them on proposed school-related legislation becomes your long-term responsibility.
The board, at our last month's meeting, we actually approved new textbooks, biology textbooks for the teachers, because we learned that our teachers were teaching our children with books that had a 1994 copyright. And in order for us to expect them to give our children the best education, they need the materials to do it. Even though we realized many teachers were going out of their way to develop the things they needed to make sure their children in their classroom got the education, the highest education possible. We need, as a district, to provide teachers with the instruments to be able to do so.
You also have to be prepared when your candidate, who you thought would be a supporter, makes decisions which are bad for you and your members, for students, and for the community.
It's not just what's best for administration. You have to treat people fairly. Every job is important there, whether you are the superintendent or you're a kitchen worker. They all come together to work as one. Without one, we suffer.
Don't count yourself out with a school board or trustee election loss either. A recall election is a last resort, and one which demands community buy-in. When it's necessary, we can provide support to the community group who shares our dissatisfaction with the board.
I think if people are aware of what's going on, and that's another thing I've been pushing for, cameras at the board meetings. Ours are not televised. They don't have to let the public know what's going on. Maybe if the public heard us speaking, they would have said, this was unfair.
There's no other organization where it's possible for employees to elect their employers. It's a political activity that touches all of your members and gives them a chance to see their PAC dollars at work.
40% of our PAC money goes back to our coordinating council that we can use for board elections.
And you're not alone in the campaign. MEA has staff and resources to guide you in the process. We're just a phone call away.
MEA was invaluable. We knew they were behind us. They provided phone bank room and phones for us to use at night. They were an essential piece to pulling this off because they're politically wise and they know what they're doing and they're able to reach out and get other people involved.
Oh, MEA is very helpful in terms of having all the information you need. You just got to go to MEA and get it. It's kind of packaged there for you, and you don't have to spend all those many hours recreating stuff, and that's what I've always loved.
So be part of shaping the future of your school district or campus. Elect your employer. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3 when you have the commitment and the plan.